Hello everybody, my name's Anthem, welcome back to Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4, The New Order as America. Let's continue on for last off. I've kind of been trying to mess around with my audio settings a little bit, because I think for the last few videos it's been a little too loud, and I don't know what happened. I think my cats have bumped into my little, audio box. I don't even know what it's called. Well, hopefully this will sound a little bit better. Anyways. Welcome. So we got exactly 7 days into the campaign last time, doing a lot of the introductory stuff. But you know, that's kind of, if you've ever seen the New Order, that's kind of what you would expect, right? There's a lot of that kind of thing. Also, we got to worry about Malaysia afterwards as well. Okay, we got a lot of stuff. The end of the missile crisis. For the past several weeks, the United States has been embroiled in a crisis with Japan. Our former jewel in the Pacific, Hawaii, has been turned into a staging point for Japanese medium-range ballistic missiles, which were discovered by CIA U-2C spy plane not long ago. After a tense standoff between the US and First Fleet and the Imperial Japanese Navy, Vice President Kennedy approached the Empire with an offer. The United States would remove its own MRBMs from Australia in order for the Japanese doing the same in Hawaii. After several rounds of tense negotiations, this offer was accepted, despite the urging of the Joint Chiefs, who argued that it would be the perfect time to reclaim America's lost territory. The doves prevailed, and today both sides will be removing our missiles. This has been a major diplomatic coup for Kennedy, who is being hailed from all across the nation as a hero for his actions in the crisis. President Nixon, on the other hand, mostly stayed out of the negotiations, and has been widely criticized for such. Okay, so tensions with the Japanese is going to go down by a little bit. Okay, end of the Hawaiian missile crisis. Let's take a quick look. Is that actually in... No. It is... There is a Cold War button. Economy. Cold War, yes. So right now, tensions for us. Barely high with Germany, high with Japan. Japan and Germany are not like too mad at each other right now, but we'll kind of see where that goes in the future. Intelligence market. Okay, so we can buy and sell stuff here as well. Cool. Excellent. So Malaysia. Malaysia. We need to... Foreign policy, global conflicts. We need to worry with the Japanese. We can authorize bombing sorties against Shannon. American bombing runs. Poverty rate will rapidly worsen. Oh no, this is okay. No, so this is not our poverty. This is poverty in Malaysia. I don't care about Malaysian poverty. Let's bomb them for now. That'll be done in 90 days, because we are currently supporting the UMAJF. Can we? I don't think we can send any troops to them directly. Yeah, they are like basically a small little Japanese puppet state. We don't need to worry about them too much. But we don't want Japan to have more influence than they possibly could be. So we are going to be supporting these guys over here, led by Shinpang, which is fine. One of the funniest things about playing the New Order is that kind of how like the ideology switch compared to like the actual Cold War. Where, what are we doing? Basically, America is funding Maoists in Malaysia, which is always an interesting situation to be in. Okay, let's just... Where are you? You are in French Polynesia. I'm going to say it's probably not French Polynesia anymore, but let's bring you over to California. Red Fleet, we'll just have you stationed in Australia. That all seems good to me. Global conflicts active. You have more production units, really? I mean, I know we're not poor. Wait, actually, we have a ton more. I think just right now, more in civilian economy, I don't need to worry about a military buildup too much. Especially when you're playing as the United States, you're not getting really involved in too many conflicts directly. You know, when you're playing as Germany, you got the Civil War, you have conflicts maybe in Eastern Europe, and a bunch of other smaller conflicts you might get involved in. As the United States, you don't really get involved in anything directly, right? It's going to be a lot of proxy wars, which you know, you still want to deploy troops in, but you're not really going to be directly at war with anybody, like in the Hoi 4 sense of being at war with somebody. Echoing cries. As you know, we've been able to secure access to a port. This breakthrough now allows us to actually get more American boys on the ground over here. Davis took a map off the table in front of him and pinned it onto the wall. As you can see, this route is a pain in the ass to follow. It'll be an even bigger pain in the ass to actually travel through. But alas, we have to be careful as to possibly avoid intercepted by the IJN or have Sukarno stuff his nose in the matter. A wide grin accompanying Davis's face. He was gleeful at the fact that American boots were finally going to march into Asia and challenge the supremacy of those imperialist Japanese maniacs. You know, General Hafiz? What was that your name again? I'm glad we can help you in this battle. The Japanese have blighted my own life. Those fucking bastards stole my childhood and my wife back in Hawaii. They took everything that I treasure so deeply and just ripped it straight from my very hands. Davis' smile faded and his eyes flooded with tears. He might have accompanied them on that fateful day, yet the screams and cries of poor Marissa and Jack as they were, along with their weeping mother, punted out their last breath of air has continued to haunt him. His brain has betrayed him when it first thought to imagine their fates. I had one child, Amin. He always used to play on the dirt. It was always a bundle of joy. One day, back when those cretins first stormed the place, he had been out playing in the mud as usual. I and my wife, Halima, had tried to get him to go back inside, but he refused. When the Japanese showed up, he asked a soldier to play with him. The soldier did not even take a second to think before he shot him in cold blood. I was left frozen at the window, unable to muster the bravery to confront the killer. Staring out on his soul departed his body, and his blood stained the ground. The room was silent, empty of the usual grunting of soldiers, the only disturbance being the chirping of crickets. There was a muted hall with the two men collapsing in each other's embrace and weeping a river with their guns in hand. We can now send volunteers to aid the United Malaysian Anti-Japanese Front in their fight against Japan. Excellent. So they've secured, Port Klang. Send volunteers. How many troops can I send? Ooh, 2 divisions. Now, of course, did I turn off flag of war? I did not. Of course, we can't really send any tanks in here because it is, the jungles of Malaysia. So we're just gonna send some basic infantry in. Do I even have basic infantry? Or are these all motorized? Do we just have standard infantry? Okay, this is the infantry division. All motorized and main battle tanks. Do I have no troops? Cannot delete garrison because it's used as garrison templates for some occupied territories. So I don't have any actual basic divisions. I only have motorized. But I can't imagine the motorized are going to be very good in jungle terrain. Hills, mountain, urban, jungle. They will take a negative 50% attack, which is pretty bad. If we just had National Guard, for example, they actually get a bonus. So we maybe want to train some National Guardsmen. Actually, I'll just duplicate this, make my life easier. This is not copy. This is basic infantry. Update you. And let's just train a couple of these bad boys. And their main job is going to be getting sent overseas. Just 2 for now seems okay. I don't care where they deploy, and I don't care if they're going to be extremely green. That's fine for me. We are not building early heavy tank, improved armor cars, or basic super heavy tank chassis. Oh, no, we don't have a template for those. That's fine. We can worry about that some point later. The German moon landing. Germany today proudly announced to the world that a German was the first to ever step on the moon. Herbert Kolner, using a rocket based upon the A9, A10 design from World War II, and as a member of the team led by acclaimed scientist Werner von Braun, successfully landed along with a team predominantly made up of former Luftwaffe pilots. Kolner, on live television broadcast globally, snapped a smart salute to the flag of the Reich, with the Earth visible in the background. A photo which is spread across the globe, no small part thanks to German propaganda. Jubilant celebrations began almost immediately across Germany. Already, President Nixon has publicly vowed that the race shall continue, and NASA is already making preparations for a permanent human president upon the moon, in a form of a lunar colony. The president announcement was quickly followed by one from Japan, who has stated that they will land on Mars. Despite the president's insistence that the race is not over, the American public has taken the news poorly. Although America managed to get the first astronaut into space, public confidence in the space program is at an all-time low, and fewer Americans than ever look to the night sky with a sense of explorative awe. Okay, so how long will it take for these 2 divisions to actually get trained up? 1%. I don't think it'll take too long. And I would like to get our troops over there as quickly as possible. Meet with generals, supply forces. What do you... I mean, we don't have a lot of command power, so we can't send military... What do you actually do? I don't know. Local revolts. I mean, I would love to have Malaysia on side. If we can have, Singapore... Being I guess Singapore is actually directly... No. If we could have Singapore be American-friendly, I think that would be quite nice for us in the Pacific. Great ambitions. Kennedy focused his eyes and tried his best to keep his smile bright. Not an easy task, while shaking the hand of a man with a grip of iron and nerves of steel, and certainly made more difficult with the dozens of cameras flashing in front of both of them. While the notion of OFN aid to a rebellion in the sphere wasn't considered impossible, particularly, the particular nature of Malaysia has always been a tricky deal to get anyone outside of the states involved. As the last of the press cameras flickered in front of John Kennedy and Tun Abdel Razak, the pair confidently could take a seat and talk about America's involvement in Malaysia. Razak was speaking before he even sat down. Mr. Vice President, we both know that the OFN needs a firm position in the Pacific, an ally to lean on should push come to shove. If you would send just some more supplies our way, Kennedy grimaced and spoke up. We're doing everything we can with the airdrops, and we're already pushing our luck as is. If so much as another gun passes into Malaya, the Japanese will catch wind, and we'll have a whole new situation on our hands. Tun's eyebrows narrowed, and he locked his fingers together. Nothing you couldn't handle, though, right? Kennedy smirked. I took a sip of water. I'm serious. Tun continued. We both know what your next step is. One way or another, it's a chance to redeem America's position in the world for the cause of world freedom. It's not like President Nixon is exactly hurting those chances with how he's managed for your country, and with how you've handled the Japanese before, I'm certain you'll be chief seat in no time. Kenny took a moment to think about Tun's words. Maybe we can give a little more to Malaya. I hate to see anybody's culture ground up into nothing. After all, but don't count on anything more than what you're already getting. I'll run it by the president and see what he thinks. Just don't count on it. Political power plus 30. A return of normalcy in a sea of hostility. 30 political power. What can I do with that? We can meet with some generals. Command power plus 20. We can send them some equipment. Yeah, let's supply the UMAFJF. Seems good. With the compass in hand and butterflies in stomach, he gazed off towards the visions of Anchorage, rapidly shrinking away into the horizon. A game of cards and a hearty serving of alcohol has certainly done wonders to feed his excitement and wanderlust while he was docked in port. But he had to admit, it was hard to get yesterday's goodbyes out of his mind. His mother's reaction had not surprised him. A quiet bout of sobbing and a laundry list of demands as they stood before the front door. She had been nervous for weeks, and all that time he had done his best to reassure her. This is something that he needed to do. He would take all available precautions. He would have all the necessary documents. It was a conversation that seemed to never end. No, he had resolved any lingering strife with his mom. It was her that was spotting such remorse in his sea-bound heart. Surprisingly, it was Dad. To say his father was an enigma would be an understatement. Childhood memories listed beyond count. Missed ball games, absent birthday parties, one-word responses to kindergarten art pieces. It's not that Dad didn't care at all, per se. From time to time, he would show his affection, teach his sons to replace a flat tire or two. The problem was consistency, or lack thereof. At any moment, Dad would disappear into the basement again, or a car would pull out of the driveway and return home after family dinner had ended. He never knew what to make of it. Perhaps the war had simply taken too large of a toll, created a man who could only function on whiskey and lonesome hours. So when Dad burst into tears in front of the taxi, launched into a bear hug, and handed his son a compass and pistol subtly before the car door closed, he couldn't help but feel shaken. Was he really making the right decision, if it would affect a man such as that so greatly? Ultimately, he brushed the thought away and returned below deck. There was no turning back now, and he had a great and exciting adventure laid out before him. He would return alive, and ultimately change for the better. Time to see what's out there. Now, I'm assuming that is supposed to be kind of like the diary of one of the poor American souls we're going to be sending over to Malaya to die in the jungle. And you are still at 3%. I mean, I guess we could have sent a motor. I mean, no, we can't send a motorized. It will not work. It'll be just bad. Actually, let me see. Because we're going to 310, 170, 520. Okay, so it's a attack penalty, right? Attack and movement. So it's 310 and 170 cut in half versus 221 and 1. Okay, so actually, no, it is worthwhile to train these basic infantry up. Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech. I say to you, my friends, that in spite of the difficulties and frustrations of this moment, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at a table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day even the state of Mississippi, a desert state, sweltering in the heat of injustice and oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. That does say desert. I can't read. I have a dream that my 4 children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of the skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. On the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, prominent civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. gave a speech to a grand crowd of over 250,000 people. His words have already spread across the country like a wildfire, as men and women, black and white alike, spread the new slogan, I have a dream. Okay, so that's going to complete our movement towards the civil rights movement. Now, I don't know what we're going to do. I know when we played this years ago, we did do the Kennedy plan where we kind of aided the Civil Rights Act. But I'm kind of thinking progressives will not be happy. I think we want to go for the Nixon move and veto the Civil Rights Act and kind of bolster the progressives. Because again, if we're going to be going for the NPP route, where we're trying to strengthen the Progressive Party, I think it would make sense to veto this and kind of give the progressives something to run on in the 1964 election. That makes sense to me. An assassin strikes at Hitler. News from Germany today is sporadic at best. CIA assets in Germania have reported that shortly after celebrations over the moon landing began to settle, German military units and several platoons where the German dictator's various bodyguard units flew the streets and immediately put the city under martial law. From what we are hearing, an assassin, which the Germans claim was belonging to the Japanese Toko Musakan, attempted to kill the Führer, but that was stopped in his attempts by one of Hitler's personal bodyguards and killed on the spot. Already reports of several assassinations have surfaced, as various politicians in the Reichstag initially believed Hitler to have been killed, and began long-playing plots to eliminate their rivals in the chaos. In the streets, various military units came to blows, as various units ordered one another to stand down, and a chain of command had broken down. While the situation has begun to recover, martial law is still in effect in Germania, and suddenly the Reich seems much weaker. In Washington, this raises the question, how can the Germans maintain a new world order if they are hardly able to handle themselves? Okay. I mean, it would have been nicer if he died, but that's okay. How are we? We're at 30 political power. And soon, we should be able to get, do we want to send in military advisors? Sabotage their war machine. I think let's arm peasant revolts in the countryside. I think that sounds good. Malaya, how are you guys doing? They still hold Port Klang. They have taken in this province, but they are currently surrounded. So I don't feel great about that. Operatives. Sure. Let's send you to... I guess we'll send you towards Tokyo for now. Class 3 Senate election session. The United States is once again gearing up for an election season. As per the Constitution, all seats in the House of Representatives and a third of the Senate seats will be up to grabs in November, along with numerous state and local races across the nation. And the course of American politics will change with it. Status quo or radical upheaval, it's time for the people to decide. The Republican Democrats and the National Progressive Pact, along with numerous third parties, are gearing up for their political machines across the 50 states, with special focus going to those Senate seats up to grabs. Tens of thousands of volunteers, campaign staff, and candidates are gearing up to begin the primaries, rallies, whistle-stop tours, public speeches, glad handling, and debates that will dominate the nation's attention for the next few months. Issues of great importance will be debated, candidates will be scrutinized, and eventually millions of voters around the nation will get the chance to make their voices heard. And the greatest democracy in the world will once again prove itself. So yes, we want to be fighting for you and me, help elect the NPP. Okay, so we're going to be going for the National Progressive Pact. And I don't know... Okay, I guess it's in here. Campaign available. Okay, now we got to deal with the whole campaign screen, huh? Let's look at the Senate buttons right here. The state is up for no senators. Okay. The state has no senators up for election. How do I... Okay, I see. Holding results right now. I mean, the NPP are looking pretty good, but it's mostly for the nationalists. Here's the thing. Do I care about whether or not it's progressive or a nationalist winning? I think the answer is yes. Like here, we got 67% for the progressives here. So if we can maybe get progressives, no senators up for election, Republicans, let's run maybe in campaign here. And when you campaign here, we have a 50% chance of great success. Okay, so I mean, it looks pretty good for us overall. Campaign here. Is it the same stats no matter what? It looks like it. So you know what? Let's run a campaign in the East Coast. Seems good to me. Okay. Oh, so okay. That means that they're campaigning in Virginia. We're campaigning around New York. Excellent. What is the current prediction? The prediction is that we are going to gain 9 seats. 4 for the Progressives, 5 for the Nationalist. And that is good. I'm guessing we don't worry about the House that much in the mod. Okay, okay. We're going to go from 26 up to 35. Now, of course, we will still be in the minority. Like, we're going to like dominate the Senate anyway, but it's still, you know, it's still plus 9 seats. I'm not going to say no to that one. But I will say, at least right now, I think it's going to be a good time for us to end this episode. If you enjoyed, thumbs up. Not enjoying, you can always thumb down. You want to see more, subscribe, and goodbye.